Here we go. The fucking chinks are at it again. This is a recurring theme with these fucking Oriental yellow fucking bastards. I mean, I've tried to be positive about the inclusion of China in Africa. But the thing is, over the years, the one thing that the chinks, especially Asians, Japanese, the chinks, is they really, really, really hate black people. I mean, we know that it's common, but you try and be, I always thought there was this common understanding that we have of, colonialism. I mean, China was, has had some odd invasions. The British went in there, the Americans, especially their cousins, the Japanese, went in there and cut the heads off on a regular basis, especially during the Second World War. But you consistently hear, I mean, this is the other incident in Kenya of the restaurant, Chinese people's behavior, and, Asian people's, Japan, China, they hate black people. Yet what have black people done to the chinks? Why do they keep going into Africa? This kind of behaviour, would he have done this kind of behaviour in India? Would he have said this kind of thing in India? No, he wouldn't say it. He wouldn't dare. But there is he can say this kind of nonsense in Africa. It's a shame that they should have put him in prison. For him to be in prison for at least, I don't know, a couple of months before deporting him. But they deported his fucking yellow, chinky arse out of there. I've been thinking about this. He said what he said. That's how it goes. But what I'd really like to ask is, why do you go into there? Stop going into Africa if you can't stand the place. Go to Japan. Go to your own place. Go to Vietnam. I'm sure if you go to Vietnam, you'll do well there. They're your cousins. You look the same. You people of your own type, your own kind. Go to Taiwan, for fuck's sake. Go to Hong Kong. If it's money that you're really looking for, go to these places. Stop going into Africa. Africa has to sort its own quagmire out. The problem is it's expected to do it quickly, fast, and has not been given time to develop, like Europe has developed over hundreds of thousands of years to get to where it is now. The African continent is expected to be up and running, modernised straight away. It takes time for these things to occur. So I would like to put a message out to the Orientals, to the chinks, to the yellow bastards out there. Stop going into Africa. It's getting really, really tiring. You don't like black people. That's fair enough. Why do you go there? Stay in your own place or go to other places. Come to UK, set up your own business. Go to America. Go to Canada. Go anywhere but Africa. Okay? Stop going to Africa if you can't stand the continent. Stop going there. I try not to be racist, but the Chinese are very quick at coming out. You see blackface on their shows. In South Korea, the same thing. They do it with impunity. Yet, if you call these yellow bastards what they are, which is yellow bastards, or you call them Chinamen or chink, they lose their collective shit. There was a video of it was a promotional video. I'm not sure if it was the American football players or basketball players, but it was a white man that sounded like he said chink. It was a video that was being shown in China. I'm not sure if he did say the word chink or if it was a mispronunciation or something, but they took it as being chink. They lost their collective shit. Lost it. See, they like to give it out, but they can't take it when it's given back to them. They can't take it, especially when it comes from the white man. Because also, the white man came into Asia and fucked the chink up its arse 2 ways to Sunday. They bombed Japan, both ends of Japan, 2 ways to Sunday. And even with that, 2 atom bombs dropped on their chinky arse, their yellow arses. They love the white man, especially the white American. He's God in Asia. He can do no wrong. But the black man, who has done nothing to their countries, nothing. All they're doing is coming to do business, coming and going out. They're terrible. African people, stop wasting your time in China. These people can't stand your ass. They don't like you at all. I'm not saying that the rest of the world likes you, but you will get treated better with a little bit of respect. China is a waste of time. The so-called chocolate city in China, you're already seeing evidence there of the chinks going to Africa to set up businesses there so they don't have to go through the middleman of Africans there. African people, go back to your lands and throw out the chinks. Throw them damn chinks out. This, I don't know if I can, listen, I've said enough. This probably video is going to be, removed. But, because it's going to offend the chinks. Well, if it offends the chinks, you shouldn't say things that are offensive. They consistently do this, the chinks, and they because they think they're superior to everybody else. They really do. They think they're superior to everybody else. And all that the chink embassy said in Nairobi says the remarks were personal and do not represent the views of the vast majority of Chinese people. Really, I think you'll find that. There's let's read a few of these comments here. Africa, how long would you suffer? The Arabs, the whites, and now the chinks. When will you stand up and say enough? Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. We don't need all Chinese to speak out their minds. One is enough to represent them all. Nothing like personal. If we don't stand up hard for this, we will still be called monkeys by these chinky bastards. This Chinese people are a ticking time bomb. We Kenyans should stay alert and stay aware. We cannot be intimidated abroad and be intimidated in our own country. A special force should be formed to keep these little people in check. Yeah, it's too right. Bastards. They're bastards, mate. They're little bastards. Deportation was a lesser charge. He should have gone to prison first. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see what the reply is on this. Go to prison for what? For saying the truth. Come to America and see for yourself. Blacks are good only in sports, singing and dancing. Blacks are good in everything, and that cannot be corrupted by money. Come to America. Yeah, America, which you cunts stole from people that were already living in that land. Okay, you didn't come there like black people have to go for visas, apply for visas, wait for a number of period of time before they can go, etc., etc. You just went to that country, you took that country. A population of over nearly 30 million is now down to 2 million. Not pure anymore, probably half or a quarter, of the original people that were of that country. But they're living on reservations, and there's 2 million of them left. 2 million of the American Indian left in America. You decimated those people, okay? And then you've got this fucking cunt here saying blacks are only good in sports, singing and dancing. You see, the thing is, if there weren't any black people, you fucking cunts would be killing yourselves. You'd be fighting yourselves. You see in history the millions of people that were killed in Russia. These were all white people back before black people were even going into that country. Genghis Khan killed millions of his own people. If there weren't any black people here, you'd still be killing your fucking bastard asses because you're evil. So-called human beings are evil bastards. Plain and simple. You're all nasty. You're all evil. Your attitude to other people is one of kill, kill, kill. Beat up, insult, insult. That's what you want to do every day because people owe you something. Let's read through this. Did we ever ask ourselves why Chinese or these so-called donor nations come to Africa? The reason is simple. They identify a third world country that has resources, then they arrange a huge loan to that country from World Bank. But the money never goes to the country, but instead goes to big corporations to build infrastructure projects like power plants, highways, things that benefit a very few rich people in that African country, as well as the foreign corporations, but never benefit the poor. So, and then this guy goes into the language, I don't know what it is. Why not jail him? Kenyans are jailed in China. Of course, this is the point. You know, the Chinks are very nasty and cruel people. I mean, look at the way that they treat animals. My God, they eat them with style. I mean, look, we all eat animals, but cats and dogs, rats, and the way that they kill some, especially dogs, they strip their skins while they're alive and throw them into a pot of boiling water. This is, I mean, the unbelievable cruelty of the way they're killed is unbelievable. You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't eat Chinese. I haven't eaten Chinese food now for probably literally 5 years now. I've stopped eating it. I don't eat Chinese food. I'm not interested in Chinese food. I have very little connections with Chinese people anyway. They keep themselves to themselves. I keep myself to myself. I used to have a real affinity for Chinese women, but I see that their attitude is very much the same as their men. You know, there's very little difference. Very little difference. I'm done with Chinese people. Not interested in Chinese people. They're very nasty. The only people that they admire is white people. I mean, and it's probably because, the description for black people is Negro. The description for white people is Caucasian. Caucasian. And because it's, obviously it's something to do with the relationship with Asians and white people. And because chinks, white people, especially white men, love Chinese women or Asian women. I mean, it's like you say. There was a survey done of dating apps. The black people, especially black women, are at the bottom of the part of the dating apps, but the top two are white men, but Asian women as well. The Asian women are sought after on these dating apps. It's getting annoying. The chinks are getting out of hand, and they never think about what white people have done to them. They were fucked up the arse by white people. But I suppose, I saw a video of one guy who's I think he's in Uganda, and he said, you black people, white people came into Uganda and developed this place, and yet you haven't done anything to, since they left, you haven't done anything to improve on it. It seems to me that the chinks are very accepting of being demeaned by white people because they see that the long-term benefit of being demeaned. And so they're quite happy to bend over and take it up the arse every day. And they like it. They enjoy it. African people, we've got to stand up against this kind of nonsense. But you see, the trouble is when you get people from the West that will consistently want to keep African people down, okay, we need to get good leaders in Africa. We need to have more good leaders in Africa. And it will take time. It really will take time, unfortunately. Let's face it. Independence, it was only 50 years ago for a lot of African countries. That's a short period of time. But the problem is the West expects to see Nigeria, Africa, Ghana, and other African countries literally, infrastructure built to like that of South Africa, and other parts of like North Africa, etc., etc. Unfortunately, these things will take time. They will take time. Let's read through some of these other comments. Instead, he was supposed to be jailed, then to the court, and later on to be charged for insulting the president and the citizens of Kenya. Who does that for sure? You little smelly pig. Chinese should be banned from Kenya, period. Totally agree, mate. Let me just click on that. Me and you are agreed. We are being colonialized the second time. Exactly. I was a few years ago when I was starting to hear that the Chinese were going in. There was this, they're going in, not like the British and the French and the Germans and all the other European countries that went in with evil intent in the way that they did before in the 17th, 18th, 19th century. All right, look, the way that the Chinese are going at the moment is not anywhere near the same as the Europeans. I think it does hurt a little bit that I thought we had some form of affinity or an understanding of what it's like to be uh, um, colonialized, uh, by the old European powers. But clearly, the Chinese don't see that. They've pushed that to one side, and we are now a superpower in the world, and we are superior to everybody else. And that side of history is forgotten now because they're opening themselves up, and they're now wanting to go into Africa wholesale to colonize it, take what they need for their people, because that's what it's about. Take what they need for their people, build to say, oh look, this is Chinese built. If it falls apart, it doesn't really matter. The Chinese built these railways, and we built this. We did this for the Africans because the Africans, unfortunately, were not in the position to be able to do it for themselves. So we're going to do it for them. I mean, it doesn't. African people shouldn't feel ashamed about that, because at the end of the day, the Arabs who built Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all these, it wasn't the people themselves. It was 19% foreign, foreign workers that built their country. So, but they will say that they, use their own money, and they are happy for other people to come in and do that. Uh, it's very, very annoying. Let's look at this again. He's not alone. The entire world sees Africa this way. At least he's being honest. That this is what the Chinese see of us. Yet we welcome them to our country, which is correct. We need to unwelcome these chinky bastards, these yellow twats. Send them back to their own. See, the problem is, it's the governments, the higher echelons of African society and the Japanese. The trade deals that are being done are amicable and etc. So when you come down to the low level, personal levels of ordinary people, this is where the problems are occurring. They're sending their people into Africa wholesale, and they have never been there. So there are guys, they've never been abroad, and this is the first time when they come into Africa and they have no idea of how to communicate with people, how to talk with people. They use their bad English to communicate with people. Yet we welcome them to our country, thinking they're bringing development to to Kenya. China is in Africa to pilfer her resources, exactly, rape her cultures and traditions, to deem them primitive, use development as a guise to build infrastructure and the institutions which will purge the Africans of Africa for the future permanent settlement of Chinese citizens. Maybe he's telling us we are too foolish to see the exploitation at play. In Jamaica, there is a situation where Chinese are buying up people's businesses, stalls, shops. They're going in there and they're going, how much do you want for this business? We'll give you this, boom. And if they say no, right, all right. They're selling their businesses to the chinks. And when they've got that business, they put their people there in the shops, and they sell to. Can you imagine? These are people from foreign people who are coming into Jamaica, buying up their businesses, putting their own people in, and then selling to Jamaicans. So when they come to buy some bread or fruit or whatever it is, they're faced with a Chinaman. What is going to happen? Are the Chinese looking to do world domination by infiltrating people's countries and then gradually removing these people out and bringing their people in? I don't understand what the purpose of that is, but it's like certain religions. They want to dominate, you know, and force people into worshipping one set of religion only. So if we have only one religion that is in this country, all the problems will be solved, supposedly, which is nonsense, just because it's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to happen because people will push back against it, especially as the population grows and grows and grows. You know, the but getting back to the the example of Jamaica, the Chinese are going in there literally wholesale, buying up businesses and people willing to sell. And people who are seeing this are trying to warn, don't sell to these people, because their purpose is to buy all the businesses, buy all the land, so that Jamaicans will be recolonized the second time, okay, by these people. And then once they've got all the lands and the office, the offices and the shops that they want, they will literally populate Jamaica. It's a place that they'd love to populate. It's a tourist island, a beautiful island where they can have for themselves, for their people. It's let me just carry on through here. Who smells more worse than Chinese? Shame on him. I'm glad I was born black, too right and beautiful. I would never wish ever for a second to be a Chinese. Let me stop there before I become racist and offend God. Yeah, I'll let you read it. But yeah, there are times when you have to give it back to them. Black is useless race in the world. Lowest IQ, highest crime rate. Every human being knows that. Right, let's see who this wanker is. I can't see who the tosser is. Oh, it's a chink. There we go. Yeah, chink. Yeah, there we go. Yellow man. Well, not that one there. Yeah, you see it's a chinky boy. Oh dear me. Sorry, I'm just gonna. But the point has to be made that their behaviour is terrible. As I said before, they're willing to take, it up the arse from the white man, and what they've done to them has been extensive. But they just seem to constant. I mean, this guy's saying that the blacks have low IQ. I've looked through the IQ. The within the top 25, Sierra Leone has 91, an IQ of 91 average. Nigeria is 84 average. So the problem is that IQ test that he's going on about has been done across one African country. Sorry, the continent of Africa. But they didn't do that with India. India IQ is I think about 83, 84. But the point is that African countries are all separate. But instead, what they've done, they've just, again, this is part of the nonsense. Oh, the average IQ across Africa is 70. Is 70. Who gives a shit? What does that mean? Ideally, it seems to me that many of these people have done their research. What? So say you found the IQ. So what? What does that mean? That we should kill that population? Should we remove black people from Africa? You would want to do that. You'd like to do that so that you can get the resources of what you want from that country. Because that's what it's about. You see, look at Syria. The war in Syria has been waging over 5 years now. And to the shame and to the disgrace of the Americans, the British and the French and other countries of the world, they've done absolutely nothing or very little to try and solve the problem. And the reason why? Syria has nothing of value. So the war has been allowed to continue. If Syria had a bunch of oil like Libya, you can guarantee that war would have ended 5.5 years ago. Because the Americans would have gone in there, the British and the French and all this kind, would have gone running in there, probably the Russians as well, to get their hands on those resources. But Syria has nothing. Every man and his dog knows the reason why they've done very little to stop the situation in Syria. Yet Gaddafi was killed and destroyed because Cameron wanted the revenge on that man, and he got it. He got it. But look at Libya now. A complete and total basket case. The same thing with Iraq. Iraq was a country that was stable. Yes, it had Saddam, but look at the place now. A basket case. So you see, African people don't go into countries and destroy and cause this kind of disruption. Can someone tell me which African country has gone in and caused any disruption to other people's countries? All the African people are doing is going from their country, their economic, they want to better themselves. They want to go to another country to improve their lives. But it seems to me that African people mustn't be allowed to leave their country. It's okay for the Irish, 150, 200 years ago, during the potato famine, to run to America wholesale because they were being starved by the British. It was okay for them to get on boats and run to America. So now you've got Boston, which is literally Little Ireland. It seems to be everybody is allowed to go to like America, to Canada, to all these countries, but the African people, black people, must stay in their countries because your IQs are 70%, supposedly. Yet the funny thing is, in the American universities, the Africans that are going to the university, Ivy League, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and so they go to the universities there and they're literally hitting, gaining these degrees. And they're shocked because this propensity, this view that because Africans have an IQ of 70%, how can they get these, high-level degrees? What's going on? Africans are thick. Because 70% is that of a level of a person who's a retard. So if the average IQ across Africa is that low, then why are these people getting it? Because it's nonsense. I know, everybody knows that you give an African person a chance and give them schooling, they'll grab that opportunity like nobody, and they will work damn hard to get to the position that they're looking for, because they know what they came from and they want to better themselves. so that they can better the lives of their people back home. And so they will put that effort. I don't know. I'm just let's read through a few more of these comments. Does this freaking fool know the Americans he envies don't give a damn about his bright skin? Yeah. And yet, if the Americans, if they were to call him chink, as I said before, he'd lose his shit. You know, the Chinese are weird people. You know, you can, you know, they insult other people wholesale, especially black people. But if you call them something Oriental, chink, yellow man, you know, cat and dog eater, they'll lose their mental. Just lose their mentalness. Here we go. Let's. Here we go. Margaret M. You must be from one of those shithole African countries that don't know how the white treat the black over here in Africa. What does that mean? Typical Chinese who think all Americans are white. Because the Chinese have a IQ of 100. Is it 120? Yeah. Are you sure? He cares about the dollar, not the Americans themselves. I like this one. I don't know why they think Americans care about their yellow ass. Is there something in your mouth because you talk like you have shit in your mouth? This is probably a chink he's not too happy. Whatever. Hotep. True, if he was in the West, they would be making fun of his accent and look. Exactly. Slitty eyes. I forgot about that. You know, the slitty eye. Prince Duke of Edinburgh made a comment once. He said, "If you stay," he said, "be very careful." I think it was, if you stay in China too long, you'll get slitty eyes. Yeah, he made that comment once, which just, yeah, Mr. Duke of Edinburgh, is it Duke of Edinburgh? The Queen's husband made that comment. It's something to that effect. But he said something about, you know, either don't stay there too long because you'll get slitty eyes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about the old eyeballs, the old slitty eyes. What has America got? What has America got to do with this buffoon? Let me guess. You are Chinese and you are pulling for that Chinese ass. This guy's important. Correction. Yellow skin. Exactly. Let's see. Let's go through this. Deportation was a lesser charge. He should have gone to jail first. Yeah. We know that. Nobody would take this boy serious. Yes, he's a stupid, chinky boy. Yellow. You see, all the racial things that I'm saying, you know, you know, you can call me a nigger, Sambo, a nignog, whatever. But you know, we've got words for you, chinks, Chinaman, Oriental, yellow, slitty eyes. You want us to? We'll bring out these, you know, racial epithets if you really want that. You know, we will put you down in the way that you're putting us down. Your food is disgusting. I don't eat Chinese food no more. No, because I don't know what's in it. I don't know if it's dog, cat. I've always, it's funny, many years ago, I'm talking about in the 90s, when people were talking about this, that the Chinese literally eat anything, cat, dog, rat, snake, you name it. If it walks, as long as it doesn't talk, they'll eat it. And, this was being spoken about back in the 90s. And I was always dubious myself. I was starting to worry. Should I eat? What is, is there a cat in here? Is there a dog in there? And I'd be looking at the meat before I eat it. But at times I was so hungry, I just ate it and said, "Pray, please don't let this be dog." But now, I'm not. I don't touch. I'm not interested in Chinese food. I don't eat it. I'm not interested in Japanese food. I don't eat it. I've just keep my own food, African food and European food, and that's it. The Chinese, you're really stoking up problems for yourself for the future. And I hope African people will stand up, ordinary African people will stand up to the chinks and won't take their nonsense, because this is nonsense. Let me just go through this. We've already gone. Why does it keep jumping up? Anyway, the comments from the Chinese ambassador is a complete lie. China will not let black people own land or even open up bank accounts in China. Let's see what the replies to that. Stop the hate. Black people are married to Chinese in China. Some, but that's the point. Some have businesses too. Stop the hate. This is it. Bantas Hotap. Who the bloody hell are you? Bantas, you need to read up on China and how they treat blacks. Exactly. And then this person's replied, first, let me say this, I'm not spreading hate, but information. I learnt from a documentary on the way Africans from Kenya, I believe it was, are treated in China. By no means do I spread hate, but I will spread information. In the documentary, it talked about how no person can really land, I think that's own land, because the government holds sole ownership of it. Now, if they are granted a business, it has to be his Chinese wife's name as well as the bank account. So if this woman wants to divorce his ass or get rid of him for whatever reason, she gets to get, to get the business. And it's in her name. Even if he started up with his own money, it's her name. So, he has to be careful. Now, I came across this information while reading about how the Chinese were underpaying Africans to mine for cobalt in Africa. Now, when the Africans saw how the Chinese seemed to have a better life, a lot of them sought to move to China for a better life. I would rather people know what they could be getting themselves into based on other African experience. Exactly. So you need to give this information. African people think, they see the Chinese that are there in mining, taking, resources, and they think to themselves, let me go to China. Let me see if I can improve myself, because there, and they don't have the full information. And when they go there, they're treated badly because they don't know, what the situation is. So this person is absolutely correct. It's not just China, but but Libya as well. Africans sought to have a better life and found themselves in slave camps. I do appreciate your response to my comment, coming without a lot of uneducated rants. I am a true believer that when educated minds can sit down and talk, we can change the world. One more thing. If I could find a documentary, I'll post it here. So if you would like to see it for yourself, blah, blah, blah. There we go. This twat here, let's see what he says. Kenya should learn from Indonesia how to deal with Chinese like that. Oh, yeah. Pismire, you are right. I am a real Indonesian. Let me tell you something. Since our president, whatever his name is more close to China rather than our traditional friend like Japan and South Korea, you must see the result. The result is more bad than good. I mean, you can see one of his very dangerous policy giving these Chinese citizens, nationals, free visa. Our president don't aware that his policy only bring problems and problems from illegal Chinese immigrants. Even one of them in 2006, 2017, if I'm not wrong, was arrested for planting a toxic chili in Bangor, although the craziest fact is that the person was holding a Hong Kong passport to importing illegal controlled drugs. Sorry for my broken English. Yeah, didn't understand that fully. But anyway, so it seems that the infighting amongst the Asians, so the Indonesians don't seem to like the Chinese. Here we go. China has a problem with their people, not all of them. They don't understand other countries, local culture and law. Some of them feel that other countries should be the same like what they have in China. The rich ones sometimes act like a big boss, rude and pretend to deserve a special privilege. We in ASEAN already know this. By the way, not all Chinese are like this guy. Many of them are humble and positive as well. Really? I don't really give a shit. I mean, as I said, a lot of Chinese people don't employ people when they open a business. They import their own people and just employ their own people. They don't train anybody else. I'm not saying they should train black people only, but in America, I mean, they don't seem to have. You don't see any whites in there. It's always Chinese trained. You don't see any Hispanics. You don't, or they don't seem to want to train other people if they're doing nail salon and stuff like that. The shops, they always employ their own. Indonesia anti-Chinese. In 1998, China leave and their economy plunges. Indonesia still a backward country, really? Or because the Chinese left? Let's go through this. I'm glad I was not allowed, otherwise my long nails were all over his face. Stupid little smelly pig. And so These people should be banned in Kenya. You see, the only thing about Kenya, about this, is that Kenya is a really, okay, it's a poor country, but it has some fantastic wildlife. You know, people go to Kenya for holiday to go and see the wildlife. Kenya is, you know, slowly its infrastructure is improving all the time because of this tourism. You know, and people love, see, you know, international people love going to Kenya to go to see the wildlife. So it has that, you know, one thing going for it, which is tourism. And so, you know, over time, Kenya will get better. Uh, you know, so I don't know. This is how they have treated Kenyans all along, like monkeys. They have no respect to Africans. I've worked in a Chinese company and realized how they treat our great people with indifference. And we've got here, not all are bad. Just one person cannot spoil the rest. Really? The government are doing their best to protect Kenya. Who is this tosser? Let's have a look. Okay. It looks like a black geezer. Chinese national deported over racist rant. Anyway, I've sort of said my bit on this. I think Chinese people go to other countries. All right, just stop going to Africa, and the Chinese should ban Africans coming into their country. That way, the two should not meet again. I'm now no longer a great advocate of what's going on with the Chinese in Africa. You know, it's colonial 2.0. It seems to be that what's going on there, and the Chinese are not interested in really developing Africa. They will do what the little they need to do to get what their hands on resources. So the more they dig in and get into Africa, the easier it is for them to take stuff out and give back little, or if nothing at all. You know what I mean? It will just be the top elites who will get money in their back pockets, but the ordinary people will get nothing. The Chinese will get what they want, which is to get all the resources that they can dig out of Africa and take back to China to boost up their country. Anyway, this is the face of the twat. Good riddance to you, you little yellow chinky bastard. Slitty eyes twat. I'm done. Goodbye.